Get ready for edge-of-your-seat action and breaking F1 news. Our 2026 preseason predictions are being put to the test as the Miami Grand Prix heats up. We're diving deep into how George Russell and Mercedes are performing, and whether Kimi Antonelli is truly living up to the hype, shaking up the predictions made all the way back in Bahrain. Will the early season favorites hold their ground, or are we in for a complete shake-up as the season unfolds? We break it all down.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSockets Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
And the drama doesn't stop there. Formula One drivers are set to launch qualifying laps at full throttle once again, thanks to crucial regulation changes rolling out this weekend in Miami. We'll explain the technical shift that's bringing qualifying back to how it used to be, and why drivers like Ollie Bearman and Esteban Ocon are celebrating this move. Find out how this impacts the strategy and excitement on the track. But what happens when the checkered flag waves and the real unpredictable force of nature takes over? We're tracking the looming threat of thunderstorms in Miami and the serious challenges they pose to F1 drivers, especially with the brand new 2026 technical package. From visibility issues to the unknown behavior of the new cars in wet conditions, drivers like Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, and Pierre Gasly are voicing their concerns. Plus, we look back at the infamous 1989 Australian Grand Prix and the dangers of wet weather racing. Will these new regulations be enough to keep everyone safe? And who should you be keeping your eyes on when the lights go out? We're highlighting the top Formula One drivers to watch at the 2026 Miami Grand Prix. From the history-making Kimi Antonelli, who's already dominating the championship, to the determined Lewis Hamilton chasing redemption with Ferrari, and the ever-formidable Max Verstappen looking to continue his Miami streak, we've got the inside scoop on who to bet on. Don't miss a moment of the action. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our exclusive F1 coverage. As the Formula One season roars into the Miami Grand Prix, Motorsport.com's writers are taking stock of their preseason predictions, with some startling shifts already evident. Initially, Mercedes was tipped for a strong Constructors' Championship, a prediction that seems to be holding firm, though the margin of their advantage might have been underestimated amidst early season yo-yo racing. McLaren, despite a challenging start, is now seen by some as a strong contender for second place, buoyed by significant progress in understanding their power unit and traditionally strong chassis development. Red Bull, surprisingly languishing in the midfield, is expected to recover, but likely not enough to challenge the top three, with Alpine potentially slipping behind them in the best-of-the-rest battle. The lower half of the grid sees a potential swap between Audi and Williams, with the latter still aiming for significant weight reductions. Astonishingly, Haas has defied expectations, currently sitting fourth in the constructors' standings, a position attributed partly to Red Bull's struggles. On the driver front, rookie sensation Kimi Antonelli has significantly outperformed initial predictions, with some writers now placing him second overall, even challenging teammate George Russell. Russell himself remains a top contender, though not without his share of early season issues. Max Verstappen's current position is also being reevaluated, with several writers now placing both McLaren drivers and Lewis Hamilton ahead of him, contingent on Red Bull resolving their significant RB22 car issues. Lewis Hamilton, often undersold, is reportedly finding his groove, while Pierre Gasly and Ollie Bearman are emerging as standout midfielders. The upcoming Miami weekend is anticipated to provide further clarity on these evolving team and driver dynamics, as significant development packages are expected to hit the track. Formula One drivers can now launch their qualifying laps at full throttle, a significant change implemented starting this weekend at the Miami Grand Prix. Previously, due to regulations affecting the 2026 engines, drivers were forced to manually manage their throttle to around 50% exiting the final corner. This was a necessary measure to avoid draining the battery's energy capacity before crossing the start line, which would compromise energy deployment optimization during the lap itself. The complexity of this manual throttle management varied with circuit layouts, as longer runs to the start line demanded more intricate energy strategy. Haas driver Ollie Behrman highlighted the danger and distraction this posed, stating, "We were having to manage the throttle manually. It's like 50%, so you're having to look down at your dash to see exactly how much throttle you're using when starting a lap, which is a bit dangerous." These recent regulation updates, agreed upon during F1's April break, primarily focus on battery charging and deployment restrictions, aiming to restore a more normal, qualifying experience by reducing extreme energy management demands. The ability to launch laps at full throttle is a welcome consequence, according to Behrman and Haas teammate Esteban Ocon, who described it as a big gain and a return to the more straightforward approach of previous years. This return to full throttle capability has been enabled by freeing up the MGUK deployment, giving teams more control over when energy can be deployed. Haas team boss Io Komatsu explained, "We can decide when we can actually deploy the energy, shifting control from specific throttle positions or car speeds to team strategy. While drivers are now on full throttle, the battery will not be saved until the lap officially begins." Deploying some MGUK power early to gain straight-line speed is now seen as a net positive on certain tracks. Komatsu elaborated, "You have to deploy electrical energy at some point so that you cross the start-finish line fast enough. Otherwise, you carry the penalty all the way into turn 1. This adjustment removes the need for drivers to wait for engineer calls, allowing them to just go at full throttle from the final corner onwards, streamlining the qualifying lap launch. Formula One faces significant unknowns as thunderstorms loom over the Miami Grand Prix, with the current generation of cars yet to experience wet weather race conditions under the 2026 technical regulations. Drivers have voiced concerns regarding car behavior, unpredictable relative speeds, and severely reduced visibility in the wet. The regulations have seen bolstered provisions for wet weather, including a cap on power deployment to 250 kilowatts and a ban on boost mode. However, questions persist about the effectiveness of these measures, particularly the partial activation of straight-line mode, which some drivers argue offers minimal drag reduction and potential instability. Examples like the 1989 Australian Grand Prix, where spray caused a devastating collision, highlight the dangers of poor visibility and closing speeds. Drivers like Pierre Gasly have described extreme difficulties with the new cars in the wet, experiencing significant wheel spin even in higher gears. The intermediate tires, set to debut in race conditions, also present an unknown factor, with suggestions to increase tire blanket temperatures to aid grip. Hirely is still developing a raceable full wet tire, its performance envelope too far removed from intermediates. Charles Leclerc points out a potential paradox where cars might achieve higher straight-line speeds in the wet due to reduced energy expenditure, exacerbating the visibility issue. The FIA is also mindful of local thunderstorm protocols, which mandate seeking shelter during lightning, and has pre-briefed teams on procedures for race delays or stoppages. The 2026 Formula One Miami Grand Prix is set to ignite the track from Friday, May 1st to Sunday, May 3rd, marking a highly anticipated return to competition after a 5-week hiatus. Drivers will navigate the challenging 3.36-mile Miami International Autodrome at speeds exceeding 200 mph, with all eyes on a diverse field of talent. This year's event is particularly significant, not only for the expected celebrity presence, but also for its position on the calendar following the cancellation of the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grands Prix due to security concerns in the Middle East. The break has seen Kimi Antonelli of Mercedes surge to the top, securing a monumental win at the Japanese Grand Prix on March 29th. At just 19 years old, Antonelli has become the youngest driver to lead the Formula One World Championship, claiming his second consecutive pole and victory in Suzuka. He currently leads the Drivers' Championship with 72 points, closely trailed by his Mercedes teammate George Russell with 63. Antonelli, now in his second F1 season and having replaced Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes, expresses increased confidence and control, stating he feels stronger and more relaxed, drawing heavily on his rookie-year experience. His goal for Miami is clear: to continue his winning momentum or even surpass it. Meanwhile, seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, now driving for Ferrari, is on a determined comeback trail after a challenging 2025 season he described as the worst. Hamilton secured his first podium of the year with a third-place finish at the Chinese Grand Prix on March 15th, his first podium since his move to Ferrari. Despite a disappointing 2025 season, including his first-ever last-place finish in Las Vegas, the 41-year-old veteran, who holds numerous records, enters the Miami Grand Prix in fourth place in the standings, fueling optimism among Ferrari fans. Then there's Max Verstappen, the four-time F1 title holder, who faces the challenge of adapting to Red Bull Racing's new Ford powertrain. Despite these adjustments, his signature confidence and consistency remain formidable. Verstappen has a strong history at the Miami Grand Prix, having secured back-to-back victories in the race's debut year and defended his title in 2023, making him the only driver to have won this event more than once. While Verstappen has openly discussed car challenges and balancing his career with family life following the birth of his daughter Lily, his performance potential is undeniable. Currently ninth in the drivers' standings with 12 points, Verstappen's ability to execute dramatic comebacks and secure crucial front-running finishes makes him a consistently exciting prospect.